found 3 federal sources that show that the transmission of both electricity and natural gas is actually falling over the past year. Additionally, there is ample information that shows that the cost of the commodity for natural gas is falling, and that the commodity for electricity, or the electricity commodity, has remained stable. Therefore, there is no justification whatsoever for an increase in the distribution cost for both natural gas and electricity. The Public Service Commission will hear public comment on this issue. We're going to fight this issue. This is outrageous, it is unjustified, and we will take our fight to the New York State Public Service Commission. We're encouraging people from Buffalo and Western New York to join that fight as well. When you see a proposed rate increase, you have an obligation to review all of the data and see where the justification is, both in the cost of the commodity and in the transmission costs. There is compelling information that shows that this is not justified, and that New York State Electric and Gas is seeking this increase is outrageous, and we will fight this.
What are you doing to make sure that they don't do it, other than writing people?
Well, that's part of the process. We're making them aware of it based on very compelling information. Additionally, the federal government this past year just provided over $4.5 billion to upgrade transmission lines, which will result in reduced costs for utilities like New York State Electric and Gas. So we're presenting an argument based on compelling facts, as I said, both in distribution and also the cost of the commodity, but also the fact that the federal government is providing these utilities with subsidies of up to 20%. To upgrade the transmission line. So there's no justification for this, and the proposed increases, as I said, are wholly unjustified and outrageous.
Just if you, maybe a little bit more, Nyseg, I assume, is a private company, and they're getting government subsidies, it's taxpayer money, to fund their upgrade, and at the same time turning around and charging the same people more.
It's a proposed increase. As I said, we're going to fight this, and we don't have to raise our voice because the facts speak very clearly and compellingly for a rejection of this rate hike. But we have to make our voices known to the Public Service Commission, who has jurisdiction over these kinds of issues. So it's not only writing a letter, it's presenting compelling facts that they may not be aware of. And as I cite in our press release and our letter to the Public Service Commission chairman, there are 3 separate federal sources of data that shows that the transmission costs for both electricity and natural gas have actually fallen over the past year.
Now, they've said they haven't had a rate increase since the 90s. So,
well,
I mean, where do they sit with, like National Grid and National Fuel and people like that?
I'm not quite sure. Here's what I know: the Public Service Commission has to approve a proposed rate increase. This process will be approximately 11 months with ample public input, and what we have to do is look at the rate proposal, see if it's justified, and we have done that using several sources, and clearly it is not justified. And that's the argument that we have to make to the Public Service Commission and as a community on behalf of ratepayers in Buffalo and Western New York.
Like a really bad time to increase rates with the recession and other things like that.
That's right. I mean, a proposed rate increase of 17–18% when there is no clear justification for it hits folks pretty hard. Particularly during the winter months, the heating months. So we have an obligation on behalf of all of them, and based on fairness, that this rate increase should not go through. We will fight it. We have a history of fighting utilities and succeeding, and I'm confident that given the facts that we have, we will successfully fight this rate increase as well.